It's Monday night, so it must mean it's time for the hater to do a Raw review. And quite frankly, this was one of those episodes that, in my personal opinion, would either be made or broken by one segment and one segment alone. A lot of the stuff that was on tonight was okay. It wasn't anything good, it wasn't anything terrible. It was passable. But, in my opinion, the show ended on a terrible note. And I'm going to get to it at the end of this video. So stick around and stick till the very end because it gets better as we get farther. In addition to that, take a moment to do your boy a favor and hit that subscribe button, cuckolds. If you subscribe, your life will get longer. If you subscribe, you won't be alone for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Good things happen to those who subscribe. And hit that bell icon, by the way, motherfucks, and go watch some of the haters' old stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let the algorithm know that your boy's back. Anyways, the show starts out, and CM Punk comes out, as well as Gunther. They're going to have a match, and they basically have about a week to create some sort of feud and some sort of reason to have this match, beyond the fact that CM Punk won, in a bullshit way, might I add, a gauntlet match that gives them the number one contendership title opportunity, right? Totally fine. I mean, this is a classic wrestling trope. Someone's got to win, and that person has to wrestle Gunther. Now, because Gunther is one of the most boring wrestlers and people of all time, it's really difficult to book with him in mind, right? It's just Gunther's the champion, and whoever's next is just next. That's it. It doesn't matter if Gunther's wrestling Tozawa or CM Punk or LA Knight or Uso or the other Uso or Talatonga, or Fatty Fatu, Felipe Escalante, it doesn't matter. Gunther will always be the same. Gunther has no character. He just comes out and says, I'm here to win. And then the other person is like, but I want to win. And then Gunther says, but you're not going to win because I'm Gunther, and I'm the Ring General, and I'm going to win. And this is exactly what happened in this segment. As a matter of fact, one of the good things about the segment was CM Punk didn't retort. After CM Punk was buried on the mic by Gunther, who just said, I'm better than you, I don't care what the fans think. Then afterwards you expect CM Punk to say something clever. He said, fuck all. There was no point in this happening. And quite frankly, I was already zero excited about this match, and now I have even less excitement for it. I don't care who wins. I suppose it's a big deal if CM Punk wins, but based on how this promo battle, whatever the fuck you want to call it, this shit segment, let's call it that. Let's call it a shit segment. Based on how this shit segment went, I think that Gunther's going to win somehow. I don't see CM Punk taking a clean loss, but Gunther's going to win just because, if CM Punk was going to win, they'd make a big deal out of this. But you never know. Nowadays, it could go either way because Seth Rollins is going to be gone for a long time. Hopefully not that long, just because of the Money in the Bank. I could give a shit about Seth Rollins. Obviously, I wish him the best. I don't want him to be, hurt for real, but it is what it is. After this, basically, in my opinion also, Gunther should have said something about the fact that CM Punk just keeps getting consecutive title shots. You know what I mean? This one he earned technically, right? It's like a 5-man gauntlet match. He came in the end and he beat Braun Breaker, who had been running the gauntlet the whole time from number one. But he earned it, so you can't really say that against him. But I can because I'm not fucking Gunther. The fact is CM Punk has been pushed down our throats more than Roman Reigns and John Cena ever were. At the very least, John Cena's presentation was that he's a winner. CM Punk's presentation is he just cannot, no matter what he does, he cannot overcome, Seth Rollins. He cannot overcome anybody of value. And as a complete direct result of that, he becomes boring, right? It's who gives a shit about CM Punk when he can't get anything done? He just keeps getting opportunity after opportunity, handed to him based on, I just dropped my remote up in this bitch, based on the fact that, I guess he's CM Punk. There's no other explanation. Opportunity after opportunity. He doesn't qualify for anything. He doesn't win anything except for this one gauntlet match. So I think Gunther's going to win. But honestly, enough about that. Who gives a shit? It's not really super important, I don't think. After this, it's time for a Stephanie Vaquer segment. She's in the back, and Naomi comes on, calls her Stephanie Vaquer, and then acts crazy. This was a perfectly fine segment. Nothing great here. Nothing to write home about. It was acceptable for what it was. It was also unnecessary. There was no need to have this segment. But whatever, nobody's hurt by it either, so let's move on with our lives. After this, it's time for the first match of the night. We're about 20-25 minutes into the show, and it's time for Sheamus versus God himself. Some people call me God. No, they don't. Some people call me God. No, they don't, asswipe. Anyways, so I will say this. For what I say about Rusev, he is boring. He's basically just another Gunther. There was a point where he was entertaining. Obviously, that point was when he was with Lana and when he would just act like a crazy guy. Now he just acts like a normal, serious, like European. You know what I mean? He's just another serious European gimmick. He's the same exact thing as Gunther. The exact same thing. Like, his moves are also boring like Gunther's. Camel clutch, super kick finisher. Like, come on, fuck out of here, So he comes out, and he is big, however. So, there is something to be said about that. Same thing with Gunther, right? Like, Gunther can have an entertaining match if it's against someone like Sheamus. And lo and behold, this match is against someone like Sheamus because this match is against Sheamus, motherfucks. So there we go. Sheamus and Gunther, a.k.a. Rusev, have a.k.a. Kozlov, have a match, right? The match is okay. Like, they're doing power moves. It's entertaining. Sheamus, in my opinion, is an underrated legend who doesn't get the props he deserves. Like, Sheamus should be clearing people like this guy. Like, why is Gunther the champion? Just make Sheamus a champion. You know what I mean? Like how is Gunther any better than Sheamus? Like, Sheamus is better on the mic. He's more interesting looking, and he has better moves. But anyways, that's not up to me. That's up to Lee Fitting and Triple H, and we all know they got a hard-on for Gunty over here. So anyways, the match goes on and on and on. Some pretty cool spots. I will give credit where credit's due. There's a spot where Sheamus climbs the turnbuckle, and he plans to dive to the outside. And he slips, right? That's a botch on Sheamus. We got to call it like we see it, right? And Gunther, also known as Kozlov, also known as Rusev, that guy, in this case, is just Rusev, right? He stumbles, right? He stumbles and, gives Sheamus another chance to climb the turnbuckle. Sheamus gave up, and he was going to audible it. But because, Gunther, a.k.a. Rusev, a.k.a. Kozlov, decided to kind of, do an extra stumble, that was enough for Sheamus to kind of, have the go-ahead to try it again, right? And it made sense in kayfabe. It was an interesting way to do it. It was like, all right, you fucked up. Now I'm going to pretend I'm more staggered than I am in a believable way so you can have a chance to do your spot. I thought that was great. And I give Rusev the props for that. That's why I use his real name for that one, because he had some good props. Then at that point, Gunther, a.k.a. Kozlov, a.k.a. Rusev, and Sheamus are back in the ring, right? And Gunther pulls apart the turnbuckle thing. Not the turnbuckle, but the thing that actually is on the buckle, the horizontal piece. He pulls that off, the padding off, and basically he wants to slam Sheamus on there. But Sheamus stops Kozlov and smashes his head on it. But Rusev doesn't sell this shit. You know what I mean? This was unacceptable. Rusev just bounces off. This is the kind of spot that ends matches. It's like that, and then a DDT is enough to beat anybody, even The Undertaker. You know what I mean? But he just no-sells it. It just crawls very fast and grabs Sheamus' shillelagh as the referee is taking his sweet-ass time putting the buckle back on. Fine. But as he picks up the shillelagh, it doesn't matter because he goes towards Sheamus, gets bro kicked, and Sheamus pins him. And it looked like one of those false finishes where, if the referee was ready, it'd be 3, but because he's not ready, it's not going to be 3. But it was 3, And Sheamus wins. Obviously, I want Sheamus to win. I prefer Sheamus much more than I do Rusev, Gunther, and or Kozlov. However, the only thing about Sheamus winning, the problem with that is that you could bet your ass we're going to get, the fucking trilogy. And then Sheamus is going to lose that one probably. But who gives a shit? You know what I mean? In my opinion, this is a complete burial of Rusev, right? It's it's exactly what I said it would be. Remember when Rusev debuted, I was like, this is exactly what's going to happen. He's going to be trading with, I said, he's going to be in a Ludwig Kaiser type role. It's exactly where he is. He might win a match against Sheamus. He might lose a match against Sheamus, right? Who gives a flying fuck? So that's what happened. After this, speaking of Ludwig Kaiser, he shows up again as El Grande Americano backstage. He speaks Spanish. It's pretty cool. Some broad is interviewing him. He says, no entiendo, right? And then Dragon Lee appears, and I'm so happy that when Dragon Lee appeared, they put down on the bottom, Dragon Lee, because I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I don't know, It could be Dragon Lee, it could be Rey Fenix, and it could be the other guy. There's another guy, I forget his name. Some other luchador that has like a similar look to him, whatever, right? The point is, nobody gives a shit about any of these guys, so there you have it, right? It could be the return of Kalisto for all we know. It could be anybody. But luckily they put down Dragon Lee there, so we're like, oh shit, there it is, it's Dragon Lee. Nice, nobody knew. Anyways, Dragon Lee says, you're a fraud, right? He calls him a fraud. And it's like, whatever, who gives a flying fuck? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, the whole gimmick is like a tongue-in-cheek thing. And it's gotten to the point now where if Dragon Lee comes out, El Grande Americano, whether that's Chad Gable or Ludwig Kaiser, if they just go to him and they say something as stupid as you're a fraud, it's like, I'm not even sure how to take that. Like, what is he trying to say? Is he trying to say, like, seriously, that El Grande Americano is not a real luchador? Because that's like the whole point, you know? Or is he trying to say that he's deduced that it's not the same El Grande luchador? Like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, what is the point of Dragon Lee saying this? Is it just like several months of him being upset that a white person, like a non-Latino, a non-Mexican, is out there pretending to be a luchador? I mean, that's a valid reason to be upset at, but like, we've established this 100 times. Like, he's fought every luchador. So he's like, I want more of you, right? And then El Grande Americano says, estoy, like, whatever, un luchador real, and tú eres, whatever, basura. He calls them trash, motherfuckers. And then they brawl, right? Now it's time for a triple threat tag team match. The New Day come out, and I swear to God, I'm not joking. I saw them, and I thought to myself, this looks like an indie tag team. Like, they look like an indie tag team. Like, go to your local indie show, right? And go watch the whole card, even the pre-shows. Probably they won't be in the pre-show, but there will be a black tag team. There's a black tag team in every indie show, and the New Day could easily be that black tag team. The problem is, motherfucks, the New Day, one half of them is Kofi Kingston, who's a world heavyweight champion. You know, they shouldn't be mistaken for an indie tag team. They have zero presence. They come out, it's like zero presence, motherfucks. Zero presence. Like, you could take two members of Dark State, and they have more presence than New Day. New Day, like, without Big E, they have zero presence. They just look like two dudes. You know, their charisma is completely gone because they don't play up to it anymore. It was just really bad. The Creed brothers are just great. I love the Creed brothers. And the third tag team here is, I was going to say Los Garza because I always confuse these motherfuckers, but it's the LWO. The very, very, very underrated Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, right? Who also did really well in this match. The match was not bad. There was a part early in the match, there was a series of great moves by the Creeds and LWO. And this series gets ended with a botched Kofi Kingston super kick. It's the first move Kofi Kingston does in the match, and it's a botch, right? Kofi Kingston is a botch machine. And I started thinking to myself during this match, like, he's obviously the most accomplished guy in this match by far. But ironically enough, despite that, he is by far the worst in-ring guy in this match, like, by a significant mile. Like, Xavier Woods is better than Kofi Kingston in the ring, and then obviously both guys in LWO are like 100 times better than Kofi, and the Creed brothers are also 100 times better than Kofi, right? The whole time I couldn't help but think, I'm like, you have Brutus Creed over here, you give him like an asinine gimmick where he has like a fucking thin voice, like a high-pitched voice, and makes an ass out of himself, and then you have Jacob Fatu, who, like, Brutus Creed and Julius Creed, for that matter, would murder Jacob Fatu in under 20 seconds. They would fucking break his neck in 20 seconds. And we have Jacob Fatu being given all this, like, limelight, right? He can't do the things that they can do. He can't. He's not strong enough. Like, if you saw the things that Julius Creed did, there was a part where with one arm, he's just holding Xavier Woods like he's a child, right? Like, Jacob Fatu isn't that strong. He's not as athletic as either of them. That's not even close. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a loser compared to these guys. And you know what? I know that a lot of people get mad because I keep picking on Jacob Fatu, but the fact of the matter is, I got nothing against Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is a perfectly acceptable Umaga-level wrestler, except with less entertainment. You know what I mean? He's just another jobber. Like, it's like, he's the same thing as Jimmy Uso. If he gets treated like Jimmy Uso, no problem. Keep him around. If he gets treated like JC Mateo, no problem. Keep him around. But when you have more talented guys like the Creeds and even Xavier Woods and even Kofi Kingston, if we're being honest, right, just being held down, it just doesn't sit well with me. You know what I mean? Kofi Kingston, like, this match, in my opinion, exposed him. I mean, he's always been like this. Like, Kofi Kingston just, like, it's like if Kofi Kingston has a match where he doesn't botch, it's like an anomaly. Like, he botches in every match. He botches, like, almost everything. You know what I mean? Kofi Kingston is just not a good in-ring guy, but, you know, Kofi Kingston has definitely earned his stripes just on longevity alone. You know, Kofi Kingston is a surefire Hall of Famer and a well-deserved one, in my opinion. But this match really exposed him. You know what I mean? It's getting out of hand now, you know? Strangely enough, there's a part where Joaquin Wilde tags in, and he just starts dominating. He does all these cool ass moves, a bunch of DDTs, and then Cruz del Toro, who I've been saying for a long time is the best luchador type guy in this company, and ironically, he's also like the lowest ranked one. Like nobody gives a shit about him. He does like an actual like a tornillo kind of like a sideways tornillo by springing off the ropes like one by one. It was incredible. You know what I mean? Like he does these things, and for some reason, Pentagon gets the push. I don't understand at all. You know, Cruz del Toro, in my opinion, is extremely underrated, and I hope he gets a shot. You know what I mean? Like I know that Cruz del Toro's not going to be WWE champion, but I hope he gets like a mid-card run at least once in his life, like a Zack Ryder type, like one-time run. You know, it'd be nice because he is a soldier who's putting in work, and quite frankly, he deserves much more than like someone like JD McDonough or someone like Finn Balor, if we're being honest, you know. But whatever, that's how that went down. I don't make up the rules. However, the good thing here is that Zema Ion's candy ass, also known as Joaquin Wilde, he actually wins, motherfucks. But what does he do? He basically dodges like an up, down, right? Throws Xavier out. Kofi Kingston is forced to do like the stomp and miss on purpose because like no reasonable person would actually do the stomp because of the way that he countered, but Kofi has no choice. You know, it's either that or like, you know, ruin the whole spot. So he does it, and then Zema Ion just rolls him up, right? And that's perfectly fine. I understand. It's Zema Ion. He hasn't had a pinning win like possibly ever on the main roster. But it doesn't change anything. The fact is still the fact. Like, for better or for worse, Zema Ion just pinned Kofi Kingston, who is a former world champion. So there you have it. That's how WWE works nowadays. You know what I mean? But I am happy overall that LWO won. They're not the best tag team here. I think the Creeds are the best tag team. But they deserve it more because they haven't had any opportunities. The Creed brothers have had plenty of TV time. They haven't gotten over. They haven't, I mean, like, they're impressive in the ring, but their character work is zero. And I'm not saying that LWO's character work is great, but at least give them a chance to try it, you know? And this is going to be their chance. And I honestly hope they knock it out of the park up in this bitch. Dominic still hasn't been cleared for competition. And the AJ Styles thing is just getting stupid, right? They just show a clip of Dominic being bitch slapped by Asuka last week. And they remind us that this is the Intercontinental Champion being attacked by a woman, right? It is just reprehensible to me, the level of disrespect that Dominic gets, and we're going to go into that a little bit more and a little bit later. So then they show the Japanese broads, Io, Kairi, and Asuka backstage cheering each other on. Then to make things even less understandable, they throw in Stephanie Vaquer. I don't understand anything, but I can't complain because the point was made. They're going to have a match. It's going to be Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky tonight, motherfucks. And I also liked how they didn't do that insecure immigrant smile / laugh, like all my immigrants will know. Like, and to all the non-immigrants, if you ever talk to an immigrant and they laugh at something you say, like, it's 50% likely that what you said was funny, but it's 50% likely that they didn't understand what the fuck you said, and they're just laughing to dispel awkwardness and hopefully to move on. You know, I called it the awkward immigrant laugh. You know, it's a thing. Look it up, motherfucks. Well, you can't really look it up because it's an observation of mine, but, you know, kiss my ass. What do you think of them apples? Anyways, after this, we have AJ Styles pretending to be a janitor, and he tells the New Day, who is backstage, that the floor is wet. Like, this is stupid. This is not funny at all. It's a little bit humiliating, in my opinion, because AJ Styles should be like a borderline legend. But basically, AJ Styles is out there just stalking Dom, which really he has no reason to do. You know? Why doesn't he just go and say, I'm going to wait for my match? Why doesn't he go and wrestle somebody else? Anyways, that's what he's chosen to do with his life, is pretend to be a janitor. He does that. It is what it is. And the New Day just like kind of play along. And then Grayson Waller appears because the New Day's like, we need an edge. Grayson Waller appears and he's like, I can be the edge. And then he explains to us that Austin Theory apparently got injured, and this is the end of A-Town Down Under. Good. Nobody could give a flying fuck at all, right? So I'm glad that the end of A-Town Down Under was presented in such a way. I'm glad that the end of A-Town Down Under was shown to us in a throwaway AJ Styles as a janitor segment, right? Nobody cares about A-Town Down Under. Nobody cares about Austin Theory. And nobody cares about Grayson Waller. Those are just the facts, motherfucks. So basically, the New Day's reluctant about this, but who gives a flying fuck? They're all jobbers anyways. They can't lose anymore. But whatever. After this, Becky comes out and cuts a Becky promo. Then she gets manhandle slammed by Lyra, and the stipulation is made that if Becky wins, Lyra can never challenge her for the IC title again. Like, that should have been the stipulation in the first one when she raised her hand. To me, that kind of was a stipulation. They didn't articulate it, but that was kind of like the point, right? The underpinnings of that were exactly that they're pretty much done with the feud. That Lyra's going to raise her hand, and that they're done. You know what I mean? Like, what was the point of that? Oh, you're going to raise my hand. So what? Who cares? The point was you're going to raise my hand and acknowledge that I'm the better woman, that Becky Lynch is the better woman, which to me would imply that the feud's over. If someone acknowledges that they're better than you or worse than you, then whatever issue you have should be resolved by that. Now it's time for a match. Bayley and Lyra versus the Judgment Day's women's tag team champions, right? Valkyria does like the nothing but net, which is Carmelo Hayes' move. But it has a goofy name when she does it. And this pretty much, in my opinion, encapsulates a very big problem in WWE, and that is that there is no differentiation. I know what you're thinking. Hold on, hater. Carmelo is a young black American male, and Lyra is a white female Irish woman, right? So them using the same move doesn't need to differentiate anything. But I disagree, motherfucks. I don't give a fuck about Carmelo Hayes' move when Lyra Valkyria does it as a signature move. I don't give a shit. You see what I'm saying? People need differentiation. I'm going to talk about that in a different video, so you can kiss my ass while you wait. You know what I'm saying? The match ends after, like, it goes on for too long, to the point where Roxanne Perez does the same move twice. It's a springboard moonsault, so it's kind of nice, but it's the same move twice, right? This is like taboo in wrestling. You don't do the same move twice unless it's the finisher. You know what I mean? Like, John Cena never does the 5-knuckle shuffle more than once, right? John Cena never does, like, a segment of a move more than once. Like, for example, he'll do 2 shoulder blocks, but that's a little bit different, right? That's just part of the same sequence. Like Randy Orton, I'll give you an example. Randy Orton doesn't do like the little, not the scoop slam, but the little power slam thing he does. He doesn't do that more than once a match. He does it one time a match. He doesn't do the draping DDT more than once. He does it once. You know what I mean? He might try to do it multiple times, but if he hits it once, right? Because nobody wants to see the same move again. Anyways, Roxanne does the same move again, which means the match has gone on too long. Ultimately, the bad guys win, as everyone would expect. It sounds like they're going to go after like every tag team, basically. You know what I mean? Like they're going to go after, or they're going to have to defend against the Kabuki Warriors. And this is going to culminate one way or another in a match against Alexa and Charlotte at SummerSlam. I don't know what made it so that Alexa and Charlotte get the match at SummerSlam, but that's what it is. After this, it's time for Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Had no idea this match was happening. Sami Zayn comes out, and they talk about him. Karrion Kross comes out. I don't think Karrion Kross's entrance is played. Karrion Kross has gained weight. Not too much weight, but just enough to basically make him look like a regular guy. Like, at this point, he's not even intimidating looking, right? When he was cut and bald, you know what I mean? He was like, oh, shit, this guy's like, at least he has like a presence. He looks like a badass. I personally never believed that he was as big as people thought he was. People are like, this guy's massive. No, he isn't. He's like a Matt Hardy plus like 10 pounds. Like, nobody around here is big. Like, I'm sure someone will correct me. Let's see here, motherfucks. Karrion Kross height. Let's see. Karrion Kross is 6'4", which is bullshit. He's probably like 6'2". Matt Hardy is probably 6'2". I bet you he's about the same size. Matt Hardy height, 6'1". All right, he's a little bit bigger than Matt Hardy. I stand corrected. Cuts this, but whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, he feels like Matt Hardy, right? He feels like if you were to have a match against like Kane, he would have like no shot. You know what I mean? If you had a match against like Batista, he would have no shot. He's not big enough for that. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Karrion Kross actually ends up winning. Sami Zayn does like the exploder suplex. They really fuck it up. The both of them are completely out of sync. They have no in-ring chemistry at all. And Karrion Kross nearly dies. Scarlett grabs a pipe and gives it to him as Sami Zayn gets ready to do the haluva kick. Then Scarlett runs around the ring to the other side, grabs Sami Zayn's leg. Sami Zayn like struggles out of it. The referee's like, you gotta get out of here. Sami Zayn turns around, gets piped up, and then gets pinned, right? Ooh, big deal. Nobody cares about this at all. Sami Zayn is now in his undercard phase. Will he rise up again? You know it. You know Sami Zayn is going to rise up at some prominent event like WrestleMania and win something like the Intercontinental title, and he's going to pretend that it's like a big accomplishment, just like he did when he beat Gunther. Like, he was like a 5-time Intercontinental champion before that. I think the most number of IC title reigns is like 8 or 9 or something like that. You know what I mean? It's not like it's like 28 or 29 or 38 or 39, right? It's a very modest number, relatively speaking, right? It's like the most you can be is like a 9-time champion. Sami Zayn is like a 5-time champion. He's like halfway there. He's halfway to being the most winningest IC champion of all time. And he's pretending that his 5th run is like some big deal. So remember when that time period when the IC title would just trade hands between like The Miz and Dolph Ziggler? Right? It's like every 2 months it would be like Miz and Ziggler in a match. They would just trade the title. It's like that, you know? Except Sami Zayn always makes it seem as if it's like this big accomplishment. When Dolph Ziggler won it for the 19th time, it was just like, oh, Ziggler's the new IC champion. Like nobody gave a shit, you know? Like I remember like at the WrestleMania that I went to, like one of the pre-show matches was The Miz versus Wade Barrett, where The Miz beat the Wade Barrett, I think, with like figure 4 leg lock and became the new IC champion. This was a pre-show match. Like nobody gave a fuck. Anyways, whatever. Let's move on with our lives. After this, we see AJ Styles being annoying again, and he's just annoying. Now he's just like as a doctor. He goes to Adam Pearce and he's like, when is this going to happen? And thankfully, Dominic just blasts him from behind. The match is then made. I personally thought that Dominic blasting him from behind was awesome, right? Because this AJ Styles is fucking annoying. He's obnoxious. He's just this asshole, like, pretending he's doing other things, like, oh, selling popcorn. Like, it's not funny. It's fucking stupid. And at this point, even though AJ Styles is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I couldn't wait for him to just get blasted. You know, it's exactly what he deserved. Dominic is right. It's like, why are you terrorizing me, bro? You know, okay, I'm a coward, but like, what does it have to do with you? You know, when I'm ready to compete, you'll be the first one in line. Relax. But AJ Styles is terrorizing him, and Dominic just blasted from behind. Completely deserved. Completely deserved. So that happened, but otherwise, I don't care. You know, I had a moment when I saw this that I'm like, holy shit, Rey Mysterio's son is the IC champ. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what the fuck, you know? But that's what happened, and that's how it went down. Catch this. After this, Vaquero and Io have their match. This was terrible. The show, in my opinion, got worse after this point. Up until this point, it was somewhat bearable. We had some pretty decent matches. Aside from the CM Punk Gunther situation, this Raw was passable until this point. Now it's time for what is effectively the main event. Stephanie Vaquero versus Io Sky. Io Sky has been carrying this company for the last year in terms of matches. She wrestles every single week. And this match and the underlying segment behind it was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. So first of all, the match goes on for about 30 minutes, as long as it's video, motherfucks. Then Chelsea Green just interrupts the match, and the match ends in like a no contest / DQ. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if it's DQ or no contest. Nobody got pinned. Nobody got submitted. Nobody cared. So this happens. And then, of course, Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquero decide to join forces, you know what I mean? And they are able to overcome the bad guys. Then, motherfucks, Naomi comes up from behind and attacks them both. Like, keep in mind, everything that I just said until now, right? Aside from Stephanie Vaquero and Io Sky, who had entrances because they're in the match, everybody else just kind of came out and did their thing. So at this point, after Naomi's thoroughly whooping that ass, thinking to myself, it's any moment now before we hear, this is my brutality, right? And that's exactly what happens. Rhea fucking Hogan comes out, right? At this point, it's just getting absurd. Rhea Ripley, nobody gives a shit about Rhea Ripley, really. You know what I mean? Like, Io Sky is the champion. People are more excited about Io Sky than they are about Rhea Ripley. It seems like, to me at least, right? Io Sky's title reign has been better than Rhea Ripley's title reign. Rhea Ripley was injured for like 18,000 years, and she came back. And now every time she does anything, you have to hear her theme song, right? Like, if Rhea Ripley's in the back taking a massive shit, that theme song's gonna play. They're gonna let us know that shit is coming out of Rhea Ripley's ass. You know? That's exactly how this felt. After, like, the whole thing gets resolved, to close off the segment, they once again play Rhea Ripley's music. I don't understand why nobody else gets, like, their music played when they interfere, except for Rhea Ripley and Jey Uso. They're the only ones that get this courtesy. Like, Jey Uso could come, I mean, Jey Uso I understand at least, because, like, his theme song is, like, it pumps up the crowd. But Rhea Ripley I don't get. So that's how that went down. Nothing happened here. It was predictable, and it was, quite frankly, really boring. And now we get to the worst segment easily of this year, of this calendar year. Heyman comes out with the lackeys. Heyman starts talking, but he gets cut off by Roman Reigns, who takes about 5-6 minutes to get in the ring. Coupled with another 2 minutes of the fans chanting OTC and Roman Reigns. All that shit takes another 5 minutes total, right? So we've already wasted like half the time of this segment. It's a 30-minute segment, but like 5 minutes of things happened, right? Basically, Roman Reigns says, like, he just pretty much gives a rundown of what's happened so far. Like, since Paul Heyman betrayed him, it's like we already know what happened. Like, this already has been addressed many times. It's just that for some reason, Roman Reigns didn't realize this, so he has to come and address it. Basically, what happens is Paul Heyman, who is a despicable rat of a character. I know that's what they're going for, but I don't even mean in a reasonable way. He basically sells out Seth Rollins. He just says to Roman Reigns, "Why don't you join us and we can like basically wreak havoc again?" Like, what? You betrayed him, bro. Like, how retarded is that? Also, if Seth Rollins is at home nursing his leg and he hears this, why would he ever come back like and be with Paul Heyman? Furthermore, Braun and Bronson are right there. Why the hell would they continue to be with Paul Heyman? Roman Reigns tells Bronson Reed, he tells Braun Breaker, I forgot about Bronson Reed, honestly, like, he shouldn't be here anymore. Now that Seth Rollins is gone, like, Paul Heyman's like, oh, there's a leadership issue in this group. What group? It's two people. It's a tag team now. What's the leadership issue? Bronson Reed's a jobber, Braun Breaker's the future. Simple as that. Presented as that. In my opinion, like, by next week, like after SummerSlam, because they might do something in SummerSlam, probably not, Braun Breaker should just like destroy Bronson Reed. And then Braun Breaker is just that guy, and Heyman is his valet. And if they want to really make it cool, make it so that somehow like Heyman like swindles the briefcase from Rollins, and Braun Breaker is the Money in the Bank guy. He wins, and then eventually like Seth Rollins comes back as a face. That would be nice, because that would actually be somewhat entertaining. But the insistence on having this group be like maintained somehow is really, really poor. Also, I understand that Seth Rollins is hurt, but if they have the intention of continuing with him as like a wrestler in this group, you know what I mean, when he comes back, then I don't see why he can't just come out. Just put him in a cast. If you want, you can even bedazzle the cast so it's in line with his shit character. That's what I would do, but I don't know. It's not up to me. Basically, I hated this segment for two reasons. Number one, Roman Reigns has things to say. Why? It's very clear. Paul Heyman betrayed you. Braun Breaker spears your ass. So why don't you just go whoop their ass? Why do you even have to talk? And then two, of course, the big part, is the idea that Paul Heyman is willing to so quickly betray Seth Rollins. It's just despicable, even with the Paul Heyman character, right? And it's also really stupid. It's like, what does anyone benefit from by aligning with Paul Heyman? Like, he's never benefited anybody. The only thing that's going to happen is if you align yourself with Paul Heyman, at one point, Paul Heyman will screw you. That's all there is to it, right? You will do all the work, like Roman Reigns explained, and he'll take the credit and then screw you in the end. So why would anyone align themselves with him? And speaking of that, Braun Breaker was out there, and every time like Reigns would insult Heyman, he'd get all fired up, which is really weird. It's like, who gives a shit? It's Paul Heyman. Like, everybody knows he's a piece of crap. Why is he getting so defensive? Like Paul Heyman has done anything for him. He's done nothing for him. All he's done is made him a lackey. He's getting all defensive and shit. Then Braun Breaker gets the mic, cuts a shit promo. I mean, it was okay. Basically, he cuts like a young Roman Reigns promo where he says like, I'm the big dog now, basically. Then Roman attacks them both, gets speared by Braun Breaker. Jey Uso comes out, and the Samoans beat up the other guys. That's the end. Complete waste of time. Roman Reigns can come back in 3 months now. And that's the thing that I didn't understand. Like, it's like Roman Reigns is back to address Paul Heyman. Okay, how about that week, Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker, who had no other matches planned, right? They didn't do anything during this episode of Raw. All they did was come out to talk to Roman Reigns. How about just don't show up? Like, why would you show up? You know what I mean? If you are a cowardly heel, right? Like Paul Heyman, and you know exactly the date that Roman Reigns is showing up, why would you show up? You just shouldn't show up at all. And be like, oh, okay, all I gotta do is avoid Roman Reigns every 4 months, and I'm good, right? So there you have it. It makes absolutely no sense, but that's how it went down. And don't hate me, motherfucks. I just told you like it is. That being said, take care of yourselves, and see you tomorrow with at least one vid. Probably two, motherfuckers. Take care of yourselves, and go get wrecked.